peace be to you. There is clear proof that Yahuah, God of Abraham, God of Isaac and God of Jacob, later known as Israel, did not meet Muhammad, neither speak to him in his lifetime. Why do Muslims accept the Quran came from Allah in the first place, when the Hebrew word Allah came earlier than Arabic language by about 2,000 years? Do not live a double-standard life. As you can see, every person, either good or evil, enjoys the oxygen in the air without discrimination from Yahuah God. But why you and I see that the Hebrew word Allah means oak is reused by Arabs for God? Any logic for Arabs to encroach into the Hebrew language, when Yahuah God Almighty has never spoken that he was also known as Allah before the birth of Muhammad? Please read Quran Surah 34 verse 44 to 45 and Quran Al-Qasas 28 verse 46, which refutes the false claims of Muslims that Allah spoke to prophets prior to Muhammad. The Hebrew blasphemy law in the Torah of Moses, namely Exodus 23 verse 13, Deuteronomy 18 verse 20 and Leviticus 24 verse 13 to 16, forbids prophets and worshippers of Yahuah to speak the name of other gods except by his given name Yahuah. So there is only one name which is admissible. Yahuah is also known as Jehovah in Hebrew, since Yah and Yeho are synonymous. But Yah and Allah are not synonymous. Yahuah inspired the Hebrew scribe of Prophet Yahushua or Joshua to write 3 words, namely Elohim, Allah and Yahuah in Hebrew, Joshua chapter 24 verse 26 altogether. Each word Elohim, Allah and Yahuah has a clear distinct meaning and no overlapping of meaning. Hence Elohim and Allah are never synonymous. Why Muslims make their own definition for Allah to become the same definition as Elohim, when Yahuah defined it properly in Hebrew, Joshua chapter 24 verse 26. Wake up, O Muslims! Yahuah God never spoke to Muhammad, but he imputed that his words came from Allah, which is merely his own fabrication, concoction and plagiarism. The assertion of the Muslims that Quran contains prophecies, scientific revelations and hidden code, are merely the wishful thinking of the readers. The rebellious spiritual being called Iblis or the devil, is greater than Adam and Eve in term of his existence. Quran itself even acknowledges that Iblis was created prior to Adam and his wife. Iblis and his companions refused to bow down to Adam, when he was commanded by Allah to show homage to him according to the Quran. So, why Muslims are forgetful that Iblis has superior knowledge than human being, to fabricate the Quran by throwing some distorted messages in the Quran, just as he did to tempt Hawa or Eve to eat the forbidden fruit. We can examine and rationalize from the precedent pattern of how the devil distorted the message of Yahuah God when he tempted Eve to eat the forbidden fruit according to the Holy Bible. But the context of the Quran tells us both Adam and Hawa were tempted by Iblis at the same time. Putting aside as who got tempted by Iblis, the common message is that Iblis was the tempter and deceiver. Muslims have forgotten altogether that Iblis is still around in the world, to tempt Muhammad and mankind. This is a very serious flaw in the judgment of the Muslims about the sources of the Quran. So far, not a single Muslim have found the logical explanation as to why Adam was willing to listen to the words of Iblis, when he had refused to pay homage to him in the first instance. By virtue of this particular fact, Quran contains the distorted message of Iblis, as he did not stop to tempt Muhammad, since he tempted Hawa to commit the crime. By changing the message of Adam was tempted by Iblis, he insulted the creation of the superior Adam by Yahuah God Almighty. Hawa was created from the rib bone of Adam according to the Torah of Moses. But the Quranic version of Hawa sounds to be created by Allah both male and female. If Hawa was created by Allah directly like Adam, why there is no commandment of Allah to pay homage to Hawa and Adam at the same time? This proves that Muhammad was plagiarizing from the Torah of Moses, and he changed the history of the creation of Yahuah God Almighty to suit his own taste rather than the true historical account. May Yahuah God Almighty open our eyes and minds to comprehend his message in truth. Shalom.